share my screen real quick. Hope your October is off to a great start. Just a few updates around special education for you this month. The first one is around Medicaid. There is a new guidance document that I have linked for you here that talks about the changes that have been made to the definition of develop or co-develop of a behavior intervention plan for Medicaid billing purposes. Currently, our staff have been able to review the behavior intervention plans and look for alignment between that and the functional behavior assessment and the IEP to be able to sign off as the mental health provider on those behavior intervention plans. That has now changed, and so they need to have a more active role in the development or co-development of those plans. And so this document outlines for our staff and for your teachers the importance of collaboration for any student that has a behavior intervention plan that we really should do this for all students with a behavior intervention plan to collaborate together, but especially students that you're billing Medicaid for, it's required. And they're going to need to, the special ed teachers are going to need to contact our people prior to making any changes to behavior intervention plans. They're going to need to invite them to any meetings that are held to talk about BIPs, which is behavior intervention plans. And they are going to need to make sure that they agree with any changes that are made. And if there is disagreement around that, the IEP team is going to need to get back together, include our staff, and come to an agreement on what aligns appropriately between the FBA, the BIP, and the IEP. Our staff will not be signing off on BIPs that they are not involved in. They will not be signing off on BIPs that they do not believe align with the IEP and the functional behavior assessment. And so they may be reaching out to you for support, or your teachers may be reaching out for support, or your Medicaid billing folks. If there are situations where our folks are saying that they will not sign, and that's going to require the IEP team to get back together to make those things happen. This is really for the protection of our staff and also for your protection. We certainly wouldn't want to inadvertently have you get into a situation of claiming something you shouldn't be claiming. And so I just wanted to make you aware of that guidance. It's going to require more collaboration, more advanced planning, but that's just the reality of the demands of being able to bill Medicaid for these services. The next one is really around differentiated accountability and special education. The designations for ESSA will be pushed back until December. However, the designations for special education through differentiated accountability will still come out in October. If you remember 2 years ago, we reviewed statewide lots and lots of IEPs, thousands of IEPs for secondary transition, students that are 14 and older. And that data is what your designation will be based on. If you had less than 50% of those IEPs passed 2 years ago, we did a second review last year, and you will also be receiving your data related to that review if that occurred in your district. So be looking for information through CASA October 15th. It likely will go to your superintendent. So if you're the special ed coordinator or the high school principal or middle school principal, that information is going to be important for you to use and work with your core team member. There is also additional information around the new graduation requirements. This informational letter, I'm going to click on it quick because there are some key things here I want to make sure to point out. Really what has changed is that we can no longer graduate students per their IEP. They must meet 4.333 in order to receive a high school diploma. So I want to back up. You could graduate per your IEP, however, you cannot receive a diploma. And so if students are going to receive a diploma, they must meet 4.333. Now this document talks about that you can do this through individualized manners, but it must align to the core standards. It's not about being aligned to the essential elements. It also outlines that you could issue a certificate of achievement or completion or attendance to a student who doesn't meet 4.333 but is ready to complete their high school career. Remember, if it's not a diploma, then those students are potentially eligible until they're 21. So this is going to require districts to review their policies around graduation. It's going to require you to look at how are we issuing credits to special education students? How are we ensuring that they get 4333? What are the classes that can meet those requirements for them? What are the individual plans we could develop? It's also going to require the district to have conversations with special education teachers around these changes and around what your district policy will and will not allow IEP teams to do as far as determining graduation criteria for a student. So more information should be coming from the department. There is a link at the bottom of this document to give questions to the DE. You can also send questions my way. There is just an article that I linked here for you around child fine from Iowa Public Radio. And I included this just to give you an idea of all of the publicity and grassroots efforts that are happening in our state. And part of it is around the AW case that was settled last year that changed, provided more guidance around how we can and can't use discrepancy in making eligibility determinations. It also has led to some false information in the community around that means that any student can get special education services. And that is not true. It's still that a student needs to have a disability that's determined by progress and discrepancy and have a need for special education services. So just wanted to share, in case you start to get questions from families, that you have an idea of what's happening in our state. More resources around this are supposed to be coming in the next month or so. Then I have a few quick links. There's one around autism. That is just a link to a survey that we're asking all teachers and administrators to complete by October 15th to help us improve our training and supports around autism. The Family Educator Partnership has updated their website on the Keystone website and has lots of great resources for teachers, administrators, and parents. There are one-pagers you can print off to send home to parents. There is a booklet about child fine. There's a great article about how to build relationships with families to resolve conflicts. And there's going to be some community resource brochures being added to the website this month. Alternate assessment, I'm going to click on this one because I want to share a new resource with you. This update just shares with you the dates of training coming up for teachers, the window for alt assessment. But this right here is a new cheat sheet for administrators. And if you click on this link, I would encourage you to print this off or save it in your drive, bookmark it. It has links for anything that an administrator needs to know around Iowa alternate assessment. And it also has questions and things for you to look for when you're doing walkthroughs. And so we've had a lot of principals ask for some resources for how do I support my teachers of students with significant disabilities. How do I know when I go into the room that they're doing the things they should be doing? So we developed some questions and some things that you can look for when you are in those classrooms. Okay, I included links to 3 different professional development opportunities for secondary special education teachers. So anyone that teaches students 14 and up, it provides the 3 trainings dig into how do you write an effective IEP around living, learning, and working. How do you develop services within your district, which are required by IDEA around transition? And then the third one is how do you use data to make decisions about what those support students need? So 3 really good opportunities happening this year for your secondary special ed teachers that I encourage you to share. The specially designed instruction, each month I'm just going to include a quick snippet about this. We are working this year to build our capacity at Keystone around the work that's been happening at the DE for the past 4 years on specially designed instruction and literacy. Our goal is to have a plan in place to start doing training and supports for districts next year around how can you improve specially designed instruction and literacy. So there's a framework and there's some information. This month it's about what is and what isn't SDI. I just encourage you to share it with teachers, take a few minutes and look at it. The last one that I included are learning opportunities around special education this year. I had this in here last month and I just keep adding to it as I learn of new opportunities. Just a reminder, if you are the special education coordinator or responsible for special education in your district or your building, or if you just want to learn more about special education, I'm offering a Zoom on October 17th from 9 to 11. We have some topics there we're going to cover. We'll certainly answer questions if people have other questions. I'll record these and push them out also. So if you're not able to attend, you can still get the information. I'll do the same thing in January. And then again in March, we'll have an opportunity to get together. That one will be face-to-face in Elkader because it's going to be in combination with the CASE Hybrid Conference, which is a great opportunity. It's a 1 or 2 day learning depending on your preference around typically around special education law, but sometimes they really get into practical application of things also. I included a link for the Tri-State Special Ed Conference in Omaha. The iCase Fall Conference is happening in November in Des Moines. We have Thomas Mays coming to talk about special education top law in Iowa specifically, and some of the cases that have happened here. We also have a keynote who's going to talk about generational differences in the workplace, which sounds like it's going to be really interesting. So just wanted you to be aware of those. As always, if you have any questions about special education, please feel free to reach out to your sector coordinator or to me, and we are here to help. Have a great October.